Welcome. I want to say thank you to Mass Audubon to have us here at the Long Pasture Wildlife Sanctuary. It's certainly a beautiful location. I'm Mark Ells, the town of Barnstable's town manager, and on behalf of the town of Barnstable and our town council, I know that our Vice President Chris Clark is here, and I know that the Barnstable Town Councilor Gordon Starr is here as well. I don't know, given the crowd, I don't know who else might be out there. I apologize if I missed anybody. They want to welcome you as well. Certainly my honor to welcome our governor, Maura Healey. We also have with her our Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, Rebecca Tepper, Secretary Ashley Stolba, Commissioner of Fish and Game, not Wildlife, sorry, Tom O'Shea. Hi, Tom. Thanks, Ian and Dave O'Neill, for being here from Mass Audubon, and everyone else. The staff's wonderful. And it's certainly an honor to be here, Governor, to welcome you. And at this time, I'll turn the podium over to you.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you so much, Mark. It's great to be here. Great to be at Long Pasture. Great to be in the fantastic Barnstable Great Marsh. It's a place that is just so emblematic of what makes our state so special. And I want to thank everybody for coming out today as we announce and mark what I think is a really historic milestone for the Bay State. Thank you to Mark Ells for the work that you do day in and day out, as well as Commissioners Sheila Lyons, Mark Forrest, Ron Bergstrom, who are also here. We're also joined by some of our state electeds as well, and we appreciate them. Kip Diggs, Joe Machino, Patrick Kearney, Hadley Luddy, thank you for all the work you do in partnership with us in the legislature. And I want to thank Dave O'Neill and everybody at Mass Audubon who I met many people on my way in. I see more of you out there. We've got fantastic staff. We've got incredible volunteers at Mass Audubon. And we've got incredible creatures, right? Yeah, how about that? That's our screech owl and our box turtle, huh? All right. Well, thank you for making them part of the show here. Because they're very much part of what this is all about, too, as we talk about biodiversity. Mark mentioned folks on our team, and I'm grateful to Secretary Tepper, also EA Undersecretary Stephanie Cooper, as mentioned, Commissioner Tom O'Shea, Assistant Commissioner Jen Ryan, our Mass Wildlife Deputy Director Eve Schluttler, and our Secretary of Economic Development Ashley Stolba. We also have our Undersecretary for Department of Transportation Hayes Morrison, who's with us today. I don't know if there are others from our team, but it truly is a team effort across the administration when we talk about how to think about biodiversity and how we put together the policies in addition to the goals that Secretary Tepper is going to talk a little bit more about. As I said, it's special to be here at Long Pasture. I think about our 1,500 miles of coastline, our clean air and clean water, best drinking water in the country, in Massachusetts, by the way, not for nothing. Our fisheries and our farms, our salt marshes, our lakes, our rivers, our forests, our plants, our animals. They have anything they want to say? We can invite them up. They want to say something? A screech owl is certainly going to be saying something, huh? They say protect our habitat. That's right. But we think about all of that today, and we also think about how connected we are to all of this, how a part of it we all are. And our health, our quality, and our way of life, including our economy, really depend on this. It is all interconnected. And it's the reason we should never, ever take our natural environment for granted. Good things can happen to a natural environment. Bad things can happen to a natural environment. And all of it, good or bad, is animated by what human beings do or don't do, right? We know that. We've known that in Massachusetts for a long time. And that's why Massachusetts has been a state that has been about leadership. And it's why today we will be unveiling the strongest plan in the country to protect nature. These are the biodiversity. This is the strongest plan in the country. It's a plan to ensure that we are meeting biodiversity goals for the Bay State. They mark the first time, I believe, that any state has set biodiversity targets for 2030, 2040, and 2050, including in our coastal and marine habitats. It's also a plan to revitalize habitats because we know our habitats have needed some shoring up and some help. And, you know, all these teams, and it's great to see so many partners out there who are at this every day. Thank you truly for the teamwork in all that you do and in all that is to come. So when we talk about revitalization, we're talking about removing old dams, fixing culverts, restoring marshes, restoring reefs, supporting our marine economy and our fisheries, protecting businesses and creating good jobs while we do it. And this is a plan to connect more people to nature. I just came in, I was greeted by students from East Boston, actually, who made the trip. It's really good for them to get to Barnstable. And we're so glad to see so many young people. You know, we've got a youth advisory council out of the governor's office. So great to see so many young people and people of all ages more connected to community, more connected to nature. We do this by bringing more parks and gardens into our neighborhoods, teaching more about nature in our schools, thank you to the educators out there, and growing the workforce that cares for our lands and waters, which are great STEM careers, by the way. So this is an ambitious plan. It's a plan that involves a lot of players. It's a truly Team Massachusetts effort, and I am so pleased about the public-private aspect of this Massachusetts Biodiversity Partnership. Mass Audubon is our first partner, $5 million in. I appreciate Mass Audubon, who's pledged $5 million for land protection and ecological restoration. That's awesome. Mass Audubon is the first partner, and I know won't be the last partner. I also want you to know that we as a state are going to put in $4 million through our capital budget plan this year. Moving forward, we also look to the Mass Ready Act. Some of you stood with us when we filed that important bill on resilience just a couple months ago. That bill alone calls for another $370 million for land protection and biodiversity and $5 million for our marine habitats. So last week we were named for the second year in a row the best state to live in the entire country. And that's for a whole bunch of reasons, right? We're number one in education, innovation, healthcare. I mentioned our safe drinking water. We're also an incredibly safe state. We've been ranked number one for the best place to have a baby, to raise a family, to live if you're a woman. And I'm happy to add this to that ledger today, what we're announcing, because, you know, having the best quality of life doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of good people and good policies. And it happens because we act, we invest, and we take the steps that we need to take to make the investments to lead. That is what Massachusetts has done for the better part of 250 years. It's what we are going to continue to do. So I want to thank everybody for all they do to protect nature, to make it possible for residents, young and old, rural and urban, from the Berkshires to Barnstable and beyond, to enjoy all that this great state has to offer for now and for generations to come. Thank you, and I'll invite our terrific Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, Rebecca Tepper, to the podium.
So Thank you, Governor. It's really great to be here with all of you today. I look out and I see many of the people who were here with us when we did the Mass Ready bill. I saw many of you who were here with us when we did the executive order. And thank you again for joining us today. I just want to say that this plan, as many of you know, has really been 2 years in the making. And when Tom, I will be honest with you, when Tom came to me to say he wanted to do a 25-year plan on biodiversity, and he wanted to have goals in it, and he wanted to bring everybody together, and I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, that's very ambitious. But he did it. And with his great team, and who, as you can see is here, I just want to say both Jen and Eve have really drove this project. Where is she? There she is, Jen. From the beginning, have been real leaders, and so many of you have participated in the many stakeholder meetings that we've had on this report, on this project before it became finished, and really want to thank you for the time and the effort that you have been part of Team Massachusetts in putting this all together. You know, I really think that this is something we all can be proud of. As the governor said, you know, it's the first in the nation, and we've been first in the nation of many things in Massachusetts, and we will continue to lead in this area. You know, this plan really takes what we're already doing and pushes us further. You know, we all know that we continue to see more extreme weather and more frequently, more flooding, more droughts, sea level rise. These changes are impacting our forests, wetlands, and wildlife. And when nature breaks down, we feel it in our homes, in our communities, and in our daily lives. And that's why this plan focuses on real solutions in real communities. We're talking about projects that people really care about. We care about cleaning up our water pollution and restoring salt marshes and removing outdated dams, fixing old culverts, and planting native plants so bees and birds can survive. These efforts protect nature, and they protect us. You know, we saw that during Hurricane Sandy in 2012, that coastal wetlands saved communities over $600 million in damages. That's real money staying in people's pockets. Protecting nature pays off. For every dollar we invest, we get $13 in the long run. And that's why we included funding in the Mass Ready Act, because we're about protecting nature. It's about building a stronger economy as well. Here in Barnstable, we know how important the blue economy is. In 2021, it brought over $8 billion and supported 90,000 jobs. Our fishing, farming, and tourism industries all depend on a healthy environment. Nearly half of our agricultural products rely on a rich diversity of pollinators. If we lose them, we lose a big part of our food system. That's why biodiversity matters. That's why we protect nature, because it means clean water, strong farms, healthy oceans, and resilient communities. And that's why this plan matters. We want to thank you all very much for your support and for your help, and I would be very proud to bring the man of the hour to the podium, who has worked so hard on this, and his whole team come together to bring us this plan today. Commissioner O'Shea.
Well, I may be the man of the hour, but really, it's an honor and a privilege. I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for the leadership of our Governor Maura Healey and Secretary Tepper, who have always been there, that have always supported leadership. And I just want to thank you and your team, Secretary, Undersecretary Cooper and EEA have been right there with us the whole way. All of our other partner agencies, this has been a whole of government approach. And it's been incredible in terms of the outpouring of support we saw during the public engagement process from all of you and many people across the state. When you look at the testimonies of what people wanted when they said there's a biodiversity conservation goal executive order, they said, wow, we've wanted this, this is great. And so we tried to create a report that really reflected all the input that we heard along the way. And I was just recently invited by the Secretary of Natural Resources in California, and they said, we want to know what Massachusetts is doing. So we are out there leading the way, and it's important because I will also say that what we heard was that this is really critical for our health and well-being, our economy, food security, and the quality of life. And we wanted to make sure that this plan was relevant to everybody, whether it was farms and fishers, our local communities and cities and what they needed, and really everybody would benefit, and we think the next generation will benefit. That's why this is a 25-year ambitious plan, because we're also thinking about the future of Massachusetts as well, and our kids and the future that they're going to have and the career opportunities that they're going to have, which is why we have a real solid, ambitious goals for restoration workforce and the green economy, but also our blue economy as well. So I want to say that really today is a great moment for us. We are really confirming our 30 by 30 commitments, protecting lands and waters by 2030 at 30%, and even going beyond that with the 40 by 50 goal target. These are targets. Our work is just beginning today. And I have to say that when we were developing these targets, I know that Eve and Jen were like, we've got to keep it ambitious. We have to keep the targets right there in the whole project team, and just credit them. And I don't know if there are any working group members from the report, but just raise your hand and give everybody a round of applause. I'll just say that, go through a few goals, and we talked about the 30 by 30. We talked about protecting key habitats that are really going to be important to local biodiversity. We are talking about a local biodiversity grants program that really brings biodiversity into local cities and towns and neighborhoods. Well, there's a lot there that all of us can play a part or a role in, and we heard that from many others during the process. We talked about our oceans. We are the Bay State. We have the second largest seafood landings in the country next to Alaska. And that's by no mistake that we have been doing good management, but we can do even more to make sure that we sustain our fisheries into the future. And that means bringing our fishers together with our conservation groups to think about what that looks like. It also means that $1.5 million to protect and the $5 million to protect marine habitats. We need to make sure that we create the productive nurseries for our future fisheries and create the kind of habitats that you see behind us and ensure them for the future. We want to make sure that when we restore, that we're addressing things like culverts and dams that are so crucial not only for fish and wildlife passage, but for resilience in our communities. Absolutely important. So you'll see some very bold goals there of removing 10% of our dams by 2050, 2,500 culverts by 2050. And I know our governor has supported a lot of work in this area, which is great. We also want to make sure that as we think forward to sustaining, that we increase the connection with food security and wild foods. And I talked a little bit about that, but it's really important that we make sure that our farms and fishers are a part of this plan. And lastly, I just want to talk about connecting people to nature and thinking about how we develop nature in the schools. Nature for all, this is for everybody, and we want to make sure that nature is in our neighborhoods, not just in faraway places, but right here in our homes, in our neighborhoods, and connecting people to nature. There was recently a study that said something like, we've lost 60% of our connection to nature over the last 200 years, and we want to reverse that. It's going to be so important, and it's right there at the center of all this. I want to thank the governor and everybody for thinking about launching a biodiversity partnership, which can really bring energy and champion this effort for the long run. Think about how we fund conservation in the future, particularly around innovation. Massachusetts right now is so well centered in terms of science and technology, and if we can bring funding together through public and private partnerships, this is another way Massachusetts will lead at a time when we're not getting the federal funding for environment and conservation. We're very excited about this. We're excited about the investments from the administration. Can't thank the governor and the secretary and all of you enough. I'll tell you, the future looks quite bright with all of us here today. And of course, where are our little friends, the animals? They might have gone. So, and lastly, I'll just say I want to thank our partners. I know we have David O'Neill from Mass Audubon, and everybody here today. I know you're coming up, but just you've all been here with us along. This is a journey. The work is just beginning. It's exciting. Thank you.
Governor. Governor, it's great to have you here. We're honored to host you here for this historic announcement. You said it. This is the first in the nation biodiversity targets. We don't see this happen ever, and now it is today. So thank you for coming here to Barnstable to be with us at what we think is a very special sanctuary. Secretary Tepper, thank you for your leadership. Undersecretary Cooper, thank you for your leadership. And of course, Commissioner O'Shea, amazing work, and your team, amazing work. Thank you all. Governor, we don't have a playground slide nor a Gronk here today, but that was fascinating, that was beautiful. But we do have the Barnstable Harbor here. Yeah. And we have an incredible, right, no we don't. But this is really the perfect setting to make this historic announcement because it embodies so much of what this is all about. Long Pasture overlooks the Barnstable Harbor. It's adjacent to the Barnstable Great Marsh, the largest marsh on the Cape, about 4,000 acres. It's home to horseshoe crabs and moon snails and hermit crabs and oysters and clams, on and on and on and on. The property has vernal pools for eastern box turtles. We had an eastern box turtle out here, and trails, including our All Persons Trail that provides access for so many people that might not otherwise be able to experience nature. Governor, your announcement is a significant historic commitment to protecting biodiversity, connecting people to nature, and addressing our climate crisis. It's a best-in-nation strategy and so important in that it sets numeric goals. It sets targets for us, all of us, to reach in partnership with the Commonwealth. Governor, you had us when you signed the executive order. We were all in. And you started something. You started something on that day when you signed that executive order. I know our team leaned in and said, what can we do to help move the biodiversity objectives and goals forward? I know so many of us in the conservation field felt that important moment when you signed that executive order to get us to this point in time. We created a 30 by 30 private catalyst fund right out of the gate when you signed the biodiversity executive order. We've spent $15 million on land conservation with our partners, and that's leveraged an additional $10 million in the Commonwealth Fund, and that's protected 7,000 acres of land, literally quadrupling the rate of land conservation for Mass Audubon during that period of time. The momentum you created was hugely important, and it's a demonstration of the type of power public-private partnerships have. Your commitments to biodiversity protection and climate change solutions has significantly accelerated public and private commitments to meeting the Commonwealth's goal. Governor, we also know that your commitments to biodiversity and nature-based climate solutions is and will continue to unlock a nature climate tech economy. We've got to work on a title for that, Secretary. Got to work on a title here. But it's very akin to the Biodiversity Innovation Fund that's highlighted in the report. It's very, very important. What do I mean by that? It's about restoring and protecting our habitats and ecosystems that has the potential to contribute literally billions of dollars to our economy. It's already contributing to our economy when we're restoring these marshes and wetlands and we're creating wonderful spaces for change to occur on our landscape. It's using technology, scientific advancements, our universities. It's employing scientists, engineers, architects, hydrologists, construction workers, and others to carry out this work. This economy, which exists today, could grow to be equal to the growing outdoor recreational economy, which is valued at about $13 billion a year in the Commonwealth. Imagine that. So let's build whatever we're going to call this, the nature climate tech economy, using our universities, using our scientists, our entrepreneurs, our ecologists. We can do this, and we have seen this, and you are untapping that ability to grow that economy with the biodiversity strategy you've announced today. And you mentioned our commitment to this work. We stand in solidarity with you, with the Secretary, with the Undersecretary, with the Commissioner to advance these goals, and with all of our partners. It sort of warms the heart to see 150 of our partners come out together to support this. We don't get to see this all the time, guys, and I really love that we're together and we're all working towards this goal. So all of us, this is wonderful. So thank you again for your leadership, for everything you've done. And now I'd like to invite our next speaker, up a partner, a friend, whose organization inspires and educates literally millions of people on Boston's Central Wharf every year and in other places around the Commonwealth and around New England. Locally, she helps us lead the rehabilitation of thousands of threatened and endangered sea turtles. We're so happy to be a partner with the aquarium and so happy to introduce Vicki, President and CEO of the New England Aquarium. Now. Oh, there you go. Hi, Vicki.
Thank you. Wow, thank you, David, and thank you, Governor Healey, for your unwavering leadership to the environment and to conservation and to the ocean. So I'm here sort of representing the blue, where 80% of the biodiversity on the planet is in the ocean. So we are all in for this amazing announcement today. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Driscoll and Secretary Tepper and Secretary Stolba and Commissioner O'Shea and the entire staff at the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs and the Department of Fish and Game, as well as our hosts here in this incredibly beautiful spot in Barnstable County. And I have to also thank all of you in attendance here who are the environmental leaders of this Commonwealth and beyond. It takes all of us to make things happen for our environment, and it couldn't be more important today than ever. So thank you for showing up. And it's always wonderful to see David O'Neill and the rest of our Mass Audubon colleagues who are here with us. This spectacular Long Pasture Wildlife Sanctuary, I have to confess, I've never been here until today. I'll definitely be back. And as he mentioned, we have been honored to partner with Mass Audubon on our sea turtle rescue and rehabilitation efforts. I think since we began the program, 6,000 turtles have been taken care of and hopefully put back where they belong. So I just want to say a few things about the New England Aquarium. First and foremost, I have to ask this question. How many here have been to the New England Aquarium? I love that. It's the only job I've ever had where that happens. The New England Aquarium is first and foremost a research institution, and it's a conservation organization, and we're working towards a vibrant and vital ocean for future generations. Because, after all, a habitable planet needs a healthy ocean. And on Central Wharf, that's where we protect and care for the ocean and its animals, and hopefully inspire others to take action to act on behalf of the ocean. Our scientific research, and we have actively 50 scientists whose work helps provide solutions to ocean problems, informs policies that create measurable change for ocean animals like the threatened endangered sea turtles and obviously the critically endangered North Atlantic right whale, just to name a few. And finally, the aquarium's Balance Blue Lab creates innovative and market-based solutions to promote industry's responsible use of the ocean while growing the blue economy. And Secretary Tepper said it already, Massachusetts' maritime heritage and booming blue economy is now valued at about $8 billion, which shows that conservation and economic growth must and can go hand in hand. We are delighted to be here to celebrate the state's latest ambitious efforts. Thank you, Commissioner O'Shea, to invest in our climate, and yes, we can say that, our environment, in innovation, biodiversity, to sustain the Commonwealth's well-being and economy. We are so happy to be here as we launch the biodiversity conservation goals for the Commonwealth. And we stand ready to support efforts to help protect and restore marine habitats and marine biodiversity. These investments, these innovations, these kinds of protections, such as potential protections of important biodiverse areas like Cash's Ledge, are more important than ever. And we've been proud to work with the administration on a number of marine conservation efforts, ranging from establishing the Massachusetts Right Whale Day in honor of the critically endangered North Atlantic right whale, to a new law that helps remove derelict fishing gear from state waters, and with the Division of Marine Fisheries Protected Species Program to launch a massive acoustic monitoring network in state waters to assist in locating whales. And we're committed to continuing to work with the Commonwealth to support the new biodiversity conservation goals. I want to again thank the governor for her continued commitment to innovation, to investment, and to protection of marine habitats and species. And I pledge the New England Aquarium's commitment to working with your office and administration to ensure a resilient, healthy, and accessible future for Massachusetts. And now it is my honor to welcome Governor Healey back to the podium.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you very much. Thanks, Vicki. You know, I made reference to 250 years ago, a short while back. But as we think about biodiversity, we think about nature, we think about preservation, we think about stewardship, we think about what it takes to continue a life cycle for future generations. We learned that here from our first people. And anybody who's a member, I just want you to stand, because we owe so much to you. And it is our job in leadership in Massachusetts and the Bay State to continue on in the ways of all of you, from whom we continue to learn today. So thank you. I just want you to know that. We see you. We appreciate you. It's been an honor to partner with you on these initiatives and on different initiatives. I'm really proud of Tom and the team. Take a look at this report. Thank you to all in the working group who worked so hard. It is true, as Secretary Tepper was saying, you know, I get undue credit for everything. It is really about the people on our team. And I want to just thank Tom O'Shea. I want to thank Eve and Jen and, you know, everybody who just stayed at this for, what, a year and a half? I mean, we had that EO signing a while back. It's a beautiful day, but that's just an executive order. And it doesn't mean anything unless you actually put, you know, your shoulder into it and make it happen. And this is about making it happen. So I'm incredibly proud that Massachusetts is going first. I'm incredibly proud that California is calling us and looking to us for leadership, and other states will as well. And I just want to thank the team for everything that that goes into this and is so much a part of why Massachusetts is great. So thanks everybody for coming out today. I hope if you didn't do the tour, take a hike, walk down the harbor, and maybe they'll pull the animals out again too. We might even get a chance to see. All right, thanks everybody.